Hi, here's another quick tip for you today, and I think this is actually again like a really important thing. So I don't want to make light of this, and I think this is something. This is something. It's like once you're aware of it, it's like the heavens open. It's like a real. This could be. I'm hoping this is going to be a real eureka moment for some of you, because this was for me. When I and then of course once you notice it, you can't not notice it. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the balance of sound on the kit. Sound is such an important part of what we do, and yet it's such an often overlooked part of what we study. Okay, studying your sound on your kit. How do and all the great drummers have a great sound on the kit. So there's two things that make up your sound. One is the articulation of how you hit things. But what I'm going to talk about today is the balance of sound. Okay, so sometimes I've heard this referred to as the internal dynamics. To me, I always refer to it as the mix. It's like, what is your mix on your kit? Now, imagine you've got this, I've got this mixing desk here. You've got to imagine that every bit of your drum kit has got a channel, and you're going to adjust that individually. And you're going to do that while you're playing. Now, here's the thing, right? And this is the eureka moment. That has to be different for each different style of music you play. Okay? And this is a common mistake you hear a lot of people playing. And I think the reason this is often overlooked is you can't write this down. You can't put that in a book. And you can't put that on notation. You can't notate that, okay? The way you learn this and where you get this is from listening to the records. Okay, it's really important. You listen to the records, you get the sound, and you get the balance of sound. Okay, now once you understand about these things, and your ears and you are enlightened to this, it's really interesting, because what happens is you can start to sound more authentic in the style. Okay, now we've all heard it. Like if you heard a rock drummer playing jazz, they can be playing all the right patterns and all the right beats, as it were, or whatever, but it just sounds wrong because the balance is all wrong. Too heavy on the bass drum, too light on the cymbals. Okay, and equally, a jazz drummer. I mean, it depends who they are, but like sometimes they try and play rock or pop, and it doesn't sound right because the balance. I mean, it depends on the music, of course. All right, these are I'm talking very broad, general terms here. But when you're starting out, that's a very good way to think. So, here's a quick general broad guideline. There are no rules here. There's only one rule in music, and that is that there are no rules. Okay, so for instance, what I can do is I can play the same beat but change the feel of the beat. Okay, and this is something that's really important, by changing the balance of my sound. Okay, and as a general guide, a general rule of thumb, this could be good to sort of have a kind of basic sort of template in your head. Generally speaking, if I want a more rock sound, I'm going to play a little heavier on the bass drum. All right, so rock music, you got to think the bass. So even if we just take the bass drum and snare drum, what is the mix, the balance, right? So for me, I'm thinking rock. I'm going to just sort of the bass drum's going to dominate just a little bit. Pop music, I'm going to make them nice and flat and even. And in funk, I'm going to put the snare a little higher. Okay, so let's just practice that on a really dead simple beat. I'm going to play the most basic eighth note beat I can, and I'm going to adjust the dynamics of my bass drum and snare drum. Okay, and in my mind, I'm thinking different styles of music now. Okay, so just check that out. So I'll start flat. Here we go. Okay, now if I put a little weight on the bass drum, now I'll put a little weight on the snare drum. Okay. Now, honestly, you're probably thinking, what the hell is this going on about? He's an absolute maniac. Like, you might not be able to tell it. But if I put that in the context of the music, you'll feel that difference, okay? But the important thing is, as a drummer, so this is the lesson for today, is you need the ability to be able to manually adjust the different parts of the kit as you're playing it in real time. So one of the things that is really good to work on is to develop the skills where you can adjust those separately. So can you adjust the level of your bass drum independently without changing the hi-hat or snare drum? It's not as easy as it looks to do that. And all the different parts, yeah? Have a think about that. Have a listen to some recordings that you like. Check out the mix, the balance of the drums. Is the bass drum a little more dominant? Is it a strong bass drum? Or is it light? Where's the snare? Of course, how do they tune them? How do they hit them? That all makes a difference. But just that thing of the mix, the balance, even if you just take the bass and snare drum, have a real detailed listen to the music and check it out. You'll see what I mean. Things are just a little bit of weight here or there, and that can make all the difference to getting a really nice sound and feel on the kit, okay? And again, you're going to get the smiles from the other musicians in the band. Have fun with that. See you on the next one.